Hello. If you are watching this video, you're probably curious to learn more about the online process-oriented training group that I'm doing for therapists. And my goal in this video is to do the best job that I can of explaining to you what it would be like for you to join this group as a group member and be a part of this group, with the intention of you knowing at the end of this video if you'd like to schedule a pre-group meeting with me so that you and I could talk one-on-one, explore your situation more, your goals, your reasons for wanting to join the group, and help you figure out if this group would be a good fit for you. And this group, it's a training group. It's 90 minutes long, twice a month. We're currently looking at Monday or Tuesday evenings. There's a few people that are interested, and according to their schedules, that's probably best. But of course, with anyone that's interested, we'll look at schedules and see what would be the best fit for timing. It is a training group, and it's a process-oriented group, and it's a process-oriented group in the truest sense of that, meaning that we will be continually bringing our focus back to the here and now dynamics of our relationships. And of course, we'll be very interested in what happens for you outside of group, the there and then type of things, your work as a therapist, or any struggles that you're having, or any successes that you're having, or of course, family of origin stuff usually is quite meaningful. To help us get to know you as a person. And so we'll be very curious of anything that you would want to bring into the group. And that's very important for any relationship, for us to really get to know you. But it won't just stop there. We'll be curious about how might those things be playing out in group. How might that be alive in the room, so to speak, or in the virtual room? So if you talk about a dynamic that you tend to have that maybe gets in the way of things in your family of origin or in therapy, how might that be playing out in our group? And then that gives us a chance, when it's alive in the room or the virtual room, for us to be able to work on things and help you change and have the growth and development and be able to work on the goals or the things that bring you into the group. And that work is really fun and exciting. And it is a training group and not a therapy group, even though the work that we do might look quite similar. And in fact, it would not be a very good training group if we weren't willing and able as a group to explore anything that's really meaningful, or anything that's getting in the way of us being able to authentically connect and repair relationships or progress relationships, and to really explore anything that's meaningful to the human experience. But the way that it is different from a therapy group is that we will always be bringing it back to, well, how does this improve our training, our work as professionals? And one of the ways that we do that is the first 75 minutes of the group will be rolling up our sleeves, so to speak, and engaging in that group process work. And then the last 15 minutes of group will transition out of group process and into more of a debrief, a didactic mode. And we might even stand up and stretch for a few minutes to help us step out of that group processing mode, and then be able to really put on our therapist hats and say, well, how can I really take these lessons back to my work as a professional? So that might look like somebody asking me a question, Nate, as a group leader, why in the world did you make that intervention? Why did you go in that direction? If I was the group leader, I would have done this. Or so that would be an example of how we help make this a training group, even though the things that bring people in might be both professionally and personally related. And in fact, those things are usually pretty hard to separate. Hopefully that gives you a little understanding of what it would be like to work in this group. Definitely not something that's, so to speak, for the faint of heart, but something that can be really, really meaningful on so many different levels. And if you're like most people, the thought of joining a group like this is quite anxiety-provoking, just like it is for any client thinking about joining a therapy group. It's pretty anxiety-provoking. But there is the first goal of any group is to help develop that sense of trust that, oh, I could start to open up to these people. And then as that trust starts to develop, then there's usually more of those feelings of, well, I want to, and I want to really engage with this. And we definitely practice what I call active consent, which of course is, that phrase active consent is usually referring to sexual activities. So we're not talking about that, but it's active consent for this training or this emotional work. And so that what that means is we're more than, you can ask any question that you want to in group. You can explore something. Say, well, you said this, and I was wondering, is that because of your family of origin stuff, or this or that? And so we're more than welcome to ask and explore things, and at the same time we're more than welcome to say, oh, I don't want to talk about that right now, or nope, that's pushing too far for what I'm ready. And so there's always that push and pull, and we'll be very curious about things, but also very respectful to step back. And then we get to process that and explore, well, what is going on, and what is that like, and how can we get better at being there for each other. This is confidential, just like a therapy group would be. We really expect those norms of confidentiality. Would also like for there to not be extra group connecting, extra group relationships. So outside a group, we wouldn't want you to be calling each other up or doing things like that. But we do recognize that there very well might be dual relationships or ways that we bump into each other. And so that will be very much a part of the training, of understanding, well, how do we navigate those dual relationships as professionals? If maybe we are colleagues or we end up being colleagues later on down the road, or things like that. When it comes to money, that's something that we'll definitely be talking about and exploring, and we get to, again, see what's alive in the room, and we'll be very curious of the feelings, the emotions around money and finances, in addition to everything else that's really connected to, well, being a human being, but in particular being a human being that's in a helping profession. I do want to quickly say that this group is open for students as well as anyone up to being licensed and beyond. Open for anyone in any type of setting. And I anticipate that there'll be people that are interested in doing group therapy or that are currently running groups, but we definitely wouldn't limit it in that way. And then I wouldn't be surprised that even if you aren't planning on doing groups, if you're in this group for a while, maybe you would develop the itch of wanting to run groups in whatever setting that you work in. And I'm going to look at my notes here to see. So I think I hit on most everything. It definitely isn't everything, but most everything I wanted to say. There is the chance, and I would really like it, and I could see group members wanting to be able to meet up together in person from time to time. Of course, that depends on geographic placement of people and finances and things like that, but that's something that we would be exploring together as a group. And I can't remember if I mentioned this, but if you've ever been to an American Group Psychotherapy Association conference, they have institutes and workshops that are very experientially based. Or maybe you've been to an affiliate society and done one of their experiential group therapy workshops or trainings. Or maybe you've done that elsewhere, or maybe in graduate school you did some experiential group training. So if you've done that before, then that would give you a sense of what this group would be like. It'd be very similar to going to an AGPA conference and doing an institute. But instead of it just being 2 days of sitting together in a circle doing the group processing work, we do that every couple weeks, twice a month. So if you have more questions, please reach out to me. Probably the best way to do that is through the contact form on my website, grouptherapycentral.com. You can also respond to the email if you got this in an email. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. One thing I will mention, I did a pre-group meeting with someone last night, and they thought, well, I might be able to use professional development funding for this since it is a training. And so I can provide to you the learning objectives and some materials you could share with employees if you want to explore that option of maybe getting this paid for as a professional development through your work funding or other things like that. And you can go to Group Therapy Central and check out the other resources that we have there, have a number of videos and other things. And yeah, I definitely look forward to connecting with you if you want to talk with me and explore more the possibility of you joining this online process-oriented training group for therapists. Thanks so much. Have a good one.